Welcome back to the HGC. Looking like we might have a pretty quick day today. Dignitas looking like a well-lubricated machine as they're just shutting down Zealots in 2 games here. They've had a 2-level lead after that first objective.
Yeah, both of the maps were a little bit of a spanking for Zealots, so I guess they have to play the rest of the series standing because that definitely hurt. But I don't see them coming back at this point.
No.
That didn't... I mean, I feel it's a bit harsh because from one point you see Dignitas absolutely snowballing both of these games and they're doing exceptionally well and they make it look easy, they have great showing and they just dominate the series. But at the same time, both of those games snowballed in the early game, so you can always make the argument that if just Zealots are maybe able to play this a little bit more passive and go into level 10 on this around the same time, that we could see a very, very different series. Because coming from such a big lead, it made it, with the experience and all the macro game that Dignitas had, it made it easy for them to run with that advantage. But if we're heading into a level 10 ability around the same time, we could see a completely different game. So on one hand, I want to say I don't see Zealots coming back. On the other hand, I feel if they just played a little bit safer and don't feel as much pressure on themselves to make the play to get the early kills, maybe a good mid-game is all they need here.
Yeah, they could definitely in the break just said, okay guys, we know we're better than this. Let's get to level 10 here and try to have a real game.
Because they are better than that.
Let's go to game number 3 here and see where exactly we're going and if we will get an even match here after the first objective. It will be Tomb of the Spider Queen, picked up by Dignitas. And if you are getting snowballed on, this is typically not a battleground that you want to go to.
Yeah. And, I mean, Zealots, this is a map they struggle on. Which is a bit weird, because from the heroes they play, this should be a map where they are doing well. Medivh, Tassadar, the double support compositions, playing a lot of Garen Garrosh, loving to play Diablo, all the heroes that usually do well on the map, having the strong solo lane and the bot lane. We've been talking in the past about the track record that Zamani, especially at the Western Clash, had with Blaze, so you can play that here now too. I haven't really seen that reflected in HGC in the league though, because they have only 2 wins and 4 losses. So for Zealots, this is not really a home ground where you would say, oh my god, they're absolutely great here. And in the past, it was different. This was the battleground where everybody would ban Medivh against ADRD because he would just dominate with him.
We'll see if we also might get the Chris show here too. Tracer could be a possible option for them too. Help
Chromie.
Better Queen. Chromie as well. Always great for controlling those lanes, but stopping the turn-ins, which is going to be something they need to do, trying to stop Dignitas from getting those objectives. Let's move into it. The Zealots will start here with the ban as they have first pick.
Yeah, something has to change now for Zealots. And again, you go up against Dignitas. This is not one of those things where you can just blame it on Zealots alone. You're going up against a team that has the best track record in the entire league. If you look at Dignitas, before they headed into this series, they had 37 map wins and only 8 losses. That is insanely impressive on the side of Dignitas. And yeah, it's pretty solid. So Zealots, on the other hand, they had a rough weekend last week. Now they're going up against the best team in the league. It's definitely a bit of a dark time for them. Going up against strong opponents, not getting the results that they want. But again, this is what makes a great team. Winning is easy. If you lose, then it's where you have to show character and you have to show that you're able to move out of that.
I mean, Dignitas has been on top for a long time now, and even said last week in the interview, Zelia, he was like, I'm actually kind of bored beating up on EU teams. I'm excited for the MSB because we're going to get some flavor. Like, they're currently at the height of their availability of experience and gameplay, right? Like, they are looking forward to going to the MSB and stomping, so it's good to see them in this state too, because that gets me excited as an EU fan to see them at the MSB.
That's also where you have to be careful though, because when you start to become a bit arrogant and a bit cocky,
that's when you get surprised.
Not arrogant, but when you start to feel too confident, you need to have someone in the team that brings you back down to earth and say like, okay, this is easy right now, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This can... It's always like, remember Team Liquid in 2017, winning everything, and then all of a sudden not even going to the mid-season brawl. So I feel then you need someone like Snitch who puts everyone back down to earth again, grounds them and says like, okay boys, we're doing well right now, but let's not get too complacent here and make sure that we are just like always giving our best.
While we're speaking about Team Liquid,
you don't want to go full in A. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Got that little zinger in there. Good job, Caldor.
Hey, if an A has one thing, then it's confidence.
Well, that's very true. Tracer is going to be the first pick here for Zealots, so we are getting them mixed up. Chris Show coming in there. I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned Team Liquid, but I was looking at the standings this morning, and our top 3 are Dignitas, Fnatic, and Team Liquid.
Feels 2017, man.
It feels right in a way. It was actually really interesting to look at the standings. It's like, did you imagine that's where we would be here at the end of our 7 weeks?
I saw it last week when we headed home, and I was just like, this is very reminiscent. 2016, 2017, the early 2017, it was always the same picture. When it came to the offline events, Fnatic and Dignitas at the top, and then you had Team Liquid there as well. And it kind of feels right.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I'm a bit sad because the Zealots are now getting pushed a bit farther behind after they were the Cinderella story that came out of the Western Clash. Big question, of course, is still what happens in the playoffs. Liquid still has to secure that third spot. So they aren't there just yet, but they're looking good.
Big strides for them as Malfurion and Blaze get picked up. Malfurion taken away from Tracer to make sure she doesn't have that synergy, and Blaze here to help out the wave clear and make sure that any dives that come their way can be handled. Also, Bunker can just stop Pulse Bomb. You drop it just in time, you can jump into it and completely negate that damage.
I mean, right now, we have Zelia just trying to extend his legacy a bit. At this point, 20 wins and 3 losses with Malfurion.
Malf God.
Just insane. Like, his 2 supports that he plays, the win ratio is insane. And also, Malfurion is, by the way, the hero that is by far involved in most of the drafts. So they have a 47 involvement rate with him at this point, which is pretty crazy.
Why not? It's been great with him. He controls anything coming his way. He has been versatile, been using Twilight Dream, Tranquility when needed, based on what his opponents need.
And also, while we're talking about the setup, by the way, so I've been saying that 47% involvement rate on Malfurion is crazy for them, but just to put that a bit in perspective, because that number is probably not going to tell you guys a whole lot. But if you look at the second highest involved hero, which also is relevant for this draft, the second highest involved hero since his release for Team Dignitas is Blaze, and he's down at 36%. So the gap between the number 2 and the 1 slot on the side of Dignitas is 36 to 47% involvement rate. So that just shows you how much Malfurion Dignitas play. And for very good reason, obviously. I mean, Zelia is just a beast with that hero. And if you play this much around a Malfurion, it's of course not only Zelia playing with the hero, it's everybody else knowing exactly what they have to do to, for example, set something up for him to get that Twilight Dream in, or to just follow this up with a root.
Yeah.
So Dignitas is just excellent playing around that hero. And with Blaze, they have another one. They have an insane track record on. 12 wins, 3 losses on Blaze. So they're opening up with a super comfortable setup for themselves.
Killer draft.
And it's still very, very flexible.
But speaking of killer draft, look at Zealots here. Hanzo and Stukov come out there. Looks like Hanzo will be played by ADRD, Chris can be on that Tracer, and then Stukov, of course, played by Shad. So they have their own comfortable heroes already being pulled out, ones that we saw pretty often at the Western Clash, and dabbled in here when it comes to League play. Team Dignitas bans out the ETC, which is a bit interesting. I think it's a little bit different. We don't get too much ETC from Mopsio, but we're going to get the Cassia ban here from Zealots.
And also, as I talked a little bit about involvement rates, let's speak about Hanzo. We've been mentioning in the earlier drafts that we have with the Zealots team that plays Hanzo more so than anyone else, and that's true more or less for Zealots and for Trick. And so if we are looking at Zealots, they play Hanzo in 52% of their games.
Wow.
So whenever they get a chance, when the hero isn't banned out or taken away from them, they usually go straight into Hanzo. I mean, they have a good Hanzo player with Chris. They have ADRD when they want to flex over and bring a Tracer into the draft as well. But this is definitely a powerful draft for them here. The thing is that when we're looking at their track record with Hanzo, it's very balanced. It's currently sitting at 52%. So they've won 14 games with him and lost 3. So very balanced heroes from that perspective, at least.
Also, definitely a foundation for them. So many games that we've had in the past where they have won a game thanks to a Dragon Zero landing on 2 to 3 members and then going in for the fight. Whenever they are together with that Hanzo and they follow it up correctly, it feels like Zealots can be unbeatable. But as you mentioned, with a pretty balanced setup for them, it seems that a lot of teams are figuring out how to make sure to dodge out on that arrow, which is becoming more prevalent lately. We've been seeing a lot of whiffs lately.
Yeah.
People have gotten much better at predicting where the Dragon Arrow is coming from.
Yeah, exactly. And you see so many dodges on that. I feel at the beginning it was just one of those things where during a big team fight, you don't normally pay as much attention to the minimap.
Yeah.
It's normally a tool that is mostly used for the macro game. But teams after Hanzo came in started to more and more pay attention to that arrow indicator and make sure then that they would immediately split.
Which has eventually gotten to people to try and shoot them a little bit further out so they can suddenly not get spotted on the mini-map in time. They're trying to focus down these supports. And so the Hanzo minigame slash metagame has actually evolved a lot in the last few weeks. And that's why you're seeing so much Hail Marys thrown out a lot. All right, so 4th and 5th pick coming in for Zealots as we had that Stitches once again from Team Dignitas and the Genji. They are looking to get some more hooks.
And Stitches is in Europe 8-0. So actually, sorry, he's 9-1 at this point. 9-1, and when we're looking at Dignitas, they have played 5 times with Stitches now, and they won every single game with him. So, yeah, looking strong here so far, and bringing him back in. This is also the original Stitches map, where we had it come in, and that was in Katowice in 2017, when they brought it out against Fnatic, with great success back then.
JPL gets the best hooker award.
Yeah.
Constantly landing those hooks, getting those picks. We're going to need a little bit more damage here from Team Dignitas, only having a Genji. Not quite what you want. Junkrat's still open here.
There's also a little bit of a story with Stitches. We're going to save that for just a second when it comes to that tournament back then. But yeah, last pick for them. You're actually right. Junkrat is a pick that they could go for here.
Junkrat or Goldan would be mine too.
I mean, Wave player wouldn't be too bad.
Jaina
They already have some. Yeah, I mean, you could go into the same setup. You're already looking at a Malfurion for the roots after the hook. So that would work.
Let's see here. What are you going to give us, Dignitas? Surprise Nova pick. We saw Poik playing it earlier on in the Hero League. Phoenix.
Phoenix comes out, okay.
Okay.
First time that they play Phoenix.
Into a Diablo of Yorick, which is a little scary.
But yeah, so here's a bit of a little story. So we've been talking a lot about the original Stitches when he was brought back into the meta by Dignitas in 2017 in the beginning of the year.
Western
when we were in
Clash.
Katowice, the Western Clash, exactly. And back then, there was a lot of talk about afterwards. Oh my God, they saved their best draft for last. They completely outplayed Fnatic. Fnatic never saw the strategy coming. It's the long con. Look at that strategy. I'm going to tell you real quickly how that strategy actually came to pass. So at that point, Fnatic was insanely dominant. And Fnatic came into this with a fantastic track record in scrims. They dominated the entire tournament, and they find themselves in the grand final. So we are sitting in the back and walking to the cast area, and we have to pass both of the teams. So we're passing Fnatic, and Fnatic is just like, oh my God, boys, we got this. Come on, it's awesome.
They're all pumped and ready to go.
Everybody's pumped. Everybody's ready to go. And then we walk past Dignitas, and at that point, JPL says, all right, guys, so we're all on the same page here. We have no chance of winning against them, so we're just YOLOing, right? That's how Dignitas approached that series. They said, conventional games, or conventional means, we have no chance.
They say when you hit rock bottom, that's where you find
we're just
yourself.
going YOLO, and all of a sudden it was Stitches, Tyrande everywhere, and they dominated. And Fnatic was never flexible enough to find an answer in time.
And it became a tried and true combo for Dignitas after that. Suddenly Stitches into Kel'Thas compositions, Tyrande coming in from Bakery.
It was a fantastic thought process. You can't win with a standard. You try something out. Why not? And it worked perfectly for them.
Followed up on that, as we introduce Zealots here. Zealots here on the left. We're going to have Chris playing Tracer, Zarmi on Leoric, ADRD on Hanzo, Mopsy on Diablo, and Shad on Stuka. The same thing happened for Zealots when they were facing off against Dignitas. That's when that Garrosh became so prevalent for them. They were like, you know what? We're going to lose. Let's just go.
Yeah, let's just go with something where we feel we can maybe gain momentum here. To the right, Dignitas with Wooby on Blaze, Zelia on Malfurion. We have Poik on Phoenix. We're seeing Genji played by Snitch, and JPL on Stitches. Ready for the hook? But he doesn't land the first one.
Ready for the hook, but does not connect. And Zealots can have a nice breath of fresh air where they wait for that cooldown to come on back. Mopsy steps forward, and Wubby finds him, goes in for the Jumper Potion into a root. Phoenix getting a little bit of damage in here, trying to get him low on health. Mopsy is just fine, though, as the rest of the team turns around, clears out the minions, get him a Regen Globe.
I mean, with the Leoric pick, with the Diablo pick, first of all, Leoric as well later on, they now have tools that they can use in these team fights to get some pressure out themselves. I actually like that this is a more aggressive setup that we are seeing for Zealots, and there's definitely a lot of tools that they can use. Once we have Entomb in play, we can always play around Entomb into Hanzo Arrow or an Apocalypse. We have, of course, the Apocalypse setup into an Arrow and vice versa. But you have to dodge these hooks. And Mopsy did a great job here, moving out quickly with a good shadow charge against the minion, so not getting picked early on. Zealots, as we said before, you have to focus on the early game. Make sure that you don't lose out in the early game, and then you have a good chance of maybe dominating throughout the mid game and carrying into the late. That's something that was lacking in game number 1 and game number 2, and we might be able to see Zealots now in their true form in this third game on Tomb of the Spider.
I feel like it's so hard to be a tank or a sideliner in this meta right now, mostly because the opposing team also has really good tanks and really good sideliners that can win in their one-on-ones if they need to, but a lot of strategies have become viable as of late to try and just burn down that tank. Here we're seeing it with Team Dignitas where they're moving in with the hook, Malfurion root into all damage onto Mopsio and try to burn him down. And he's getting away with slivers of health, but that's the difference between 1 or 2 more attacks coming in there, and suddenly he's fallen victim.
One of the things that's always interesting to me is that with this heavy of a with this meta focusing heavily on frontliners that are very hit point heavy, we are still seeing very little Tychus play. We've seen him come in every now and then. We just saw him also played by Team Liquid, where it worked out extremely well. And especially with the bigger they are on the level 4 talent through your minigun, you can burn out a tank completely, especially if you isolate him. But we still see very little of Tychus in the European scene. We've seen other strategies being used. For example, Fnatic coming in with Karazim and banking on a 7-sided with, for example, a Cursed Bullet on Greymane to blow a front line up. And similar strategies have been employed by other teams. But there are definitely a couple of things that I could still see popping up at the mid-season brawl if this meta persists.
Malfio also could be coming back at some point. Mopsio right now takes some damage here on this front line. Poik actually feeling a little bit confident there. I was actually thinking he was going to warp away from that fight, but he sticked into it and continued to keep out that damage as Dignitas rotated down to help out with that bottom lane.
I mean, with Phoenix, we're seeing the same build being used now that we have now observed over the last few weeks. So first of all, the advanced targeting on level 1, just heavily relying on your plasma cutter to enhance the auto attack damage. And then on level 4, the emergency protocol. So it's all about that extra movement speed when your shields get depleted. This is, as we mentioned before, the first time that Dignitas plays with Phoenix, but we have, of course, seen the hero a couple of times in the European scene. We have currently only 5 wins with Phoenix and 7 losses. So didn't really have the impact that a lot of people expected him to have, especially, of course, with the track record that Phoenix established in Hero League at the beginning.
Yeah, he's really gone from a first pick down to that 4th, 5th pick slot where a lot of teams feel like, okay, if you draft for him, you can make it work. I am a bit worried, though, for Zealots, or for Team Dignitas, because Zealots have the Diablo, which can be great, interrupting that warp. You also, as mentioned, have that Entomb into the Hanzo arrow. If Phoenix gets locked down, the Stukov, as you mentioned, has already made it hard for Phoenix to warp away from the fight. So Zealots have a lot available to stop Phoenix from being effective.
By the way, I find it a little bit, I'm not really a big lore panda, but if we're talking about it, why is Diablo taking damage when he's in fire or blaze? That makes no sense to me.
That doesn't work at all. I mean, Ragnaros, Kel'Thas, they all take damage when they have fire on them.
Where's my Lord of Terror when we need them? Big fight coming out as Shad is in trouble and he gets taken down. Stitches with a hook here. And a good kill as Dignitas take the first blood in the game. 43 gems turned in by them already, and now Wooby is trying to make it 50. Gets the Web Weaver wave, and again, Dignitas attempting to get this game, or control of the game, early on.
I mean, while still on lore here, Snitch is completely bodying Diablo, which in that cinematic, Genji had to get D.Va to come in and help just to have a chance of fighting against Diablo. This isn't working out for me, you know?
Yeah.
This game needs to be more realistic.
No, we can't get too realistic. I mean, they're writing picks here, and I'm okay with that. Diablo, talking about him, is in a bit of trouble as the big spider comes down and spawns more spiders.
Spider, spider, spider. Pushing the middle lane, pushing top lane, and pushing the bottom. Team Dignitas has everything moving forward to them. And this is where we need to see if Zealots can handle the pressure coming their way. Mopsio goes in for a Shadow Charge, tosses Zelia behind him. Zelia somehow stays alive. That's that Tracer nerf coming into effect.
And Snitch trying to take Chris down here with a quick Swift Strike, nearly overshooting a bit into the gate, but is able to move out. Chris, on the other hand, also surviving as he moves away from this one. But of course, the pressure is on right now. Dignitas is already a level ahead, and they're trying to make it more. We have down to the bot lane, Phoenix still fighting with Leoric. And at this point in time, the rotation is starting up, so Poik needs to be careful. JPL still anchoring the side. They're trying to go for Mopsio again. Here comes the jet propulsion. The roots afterwards, and that could be a dead Mopsio. JPL with a hook, nobody blocking it, and Diablo barely moves out of this one as Snitch goes in, takes the Swift Strike kill, gets the reset, and moves out.
They're looking for more, too. Wubby goes in for jet propulsion, hits ADRD, and that is going to be a kill. Team Dignitas continuing to run with this game. Good news for Zealots though. They still have their turn-in available, 48 gems.
I was actually expecting Chris to eat the hook. I was expecting Chris to really eat that hook and then either recall or dart away. But nope. Hook hits Diablo, and this time he can't get out of this one. He didn't have the 100 stacks yet, so the 100 souls. And I feel in this case with the low death timers, that's a saving grace, since he would have lost all of them, but he's still sitting at 86. So that's okay.
But Dignitas is going to try and repeat history 3 times here and get a 2-level lead on their opponent. Just barely. 9 about to hit for Zealots, but 10's about to come in with this push in the middle with the Merchant Camp being grabbed. Team Dignitas hits their 10 and aims to be aggressive.
Talking about the level 10s and the levels in general, the talents, we have the combat advantage now taken once more, so it's all about the slow targets, and that's, of course, what we see a lot. Whenever you have Phoenix being drafted, we've seen a lot of Thrall being drafted with Phoenix just simply to get the slows in. In this case now we're having Stitches, we're seeing Blaze with all the slows through the oil spill. We're having, of course, Malfurion with Roots and Laydown. So there's really a lot of stuff now that can be used by Dignitas to allow that level 7 talent to get a lot of value for Poik on his Phoenix. So definitely good setup for them. The level advantage also works in their favor. But of course, they're still trying to see if they can maybe prevent the second turn in, but Dignitas plays it perfectly. They play everything around the level 10 ability. They get the second turn in, they got the gems in time, and this is the moment where Zealots are going to be in trouble because it's snowball time.
Yeah, and they still have the Merc Camp alive here in the middle too. Dignitas was able to clear that up before it pushed a little bit too far, so it's also have that extra spell aura. Dignitas gets his mini-wave completely pushed through the fort, which means when this Web Weaver gets here, it should start sieging this fort right away, who's already taking some decent damage. JPL goes in, gets off a decent hook there on Mopsio, and here comes Snitch with the damage. Salvo comes out and gets already low, but he's able to sneak away.
Yeah, for now, but Snitch wants him, and Snitch gets him, and that's 20 gems gone. Stukov is down as well, and Dignitas, they are currently just sitting on the train here, choo-choo, and all the way to the 3-0.
What was that, 40 gems?
Yeah. They lost a lot. 25, 23, I believe, on Leoric, and another 14, if I'm not mistaken, on Stukov.
Jeez.
So they just absolutely body, and they're just not stopping. That train is just continuing, and it's all on board here as Dignitas is starting to move in. Mopsio again.
Stop, he has a family!
Oh, and he goes down. Snitch gets the reset. The stacks are lost. Ruby moves away. And yeah, that's... Oh, the hook against ADRD, but at least he gets away. But
this gets away, but look at the bottom lane.
This is a 3-level lead now.
Phoenix was pushing in this lane the entire time.
Poik is AFK at the bot lane. Report, please. He's just getting the siege damage value.
I want to know how many gems they'll have. And the moment this finishes up, we'll see. They'll have, okay, 48.
They still have a turn-in.
They still have a turn-in, so they're still in this.
But you have a 2-level advantage now, talent advantage, 5 kills against 0. Quick boss to be taken. Very little that Zealots can do about that, even with the one more combo setup that they have in theory. They're probably going to try and get their turn in now so that they have an easier time dealing with the boss. That's what they at least should do. So they trade their gems against the boss defense. That's what's happening here. But yeah, of course, that relieves them of most of their gems just for the defense at the top lane. And everything else Dignitas going to clear out. If Dignitas can even get a kill here, then of course that would be worse. The jet propulsion doesn't hit for the stun, but still, Zomany is not getting out of this one. That's just too much. Dignitas immediately collapsed on him like hungry piranhas, and yeah, that's the game.
Hungry piranhas.
Piranhas?
That's what it came down to, hungry piranhas?
Yeah.
You're going to compare Dignitas to a fish with massive teeth that destroys people in African waters?
I would say that comparison is very fitting.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I just wanted to make sure that's what
they are tearing their victims apart and they're eating them alive.
Starting with flesh into muscle. Oh,
yeah.
The image. It's a bit gory, but appropriate.
Are you watching the same game? It's pretty gory.
And here's the issue, too. Zealots aren't even going to get a 4 here off of this at all.
Yeah.
Completely stopped. That kill on Zomany was instrumental for Dignitas to have a pretty solid defense.
Okay, so what Zealots really need, they need a warmer combo setup here. They have the tools. They just need a target that they can blow up. If they at some point catch Poik, for example, with the silence and he can't warp away, if they can get their kill, it's not out of this just yet, but things are not looking good at all. And JPL keeps hitting these hooks, and then immediately there's a follow-up again. Here comes the setup. Apocalypse is in, Entomb is there, Diablo goes down. Can they get a counter kill? No, Leoric falls instead, and it's time to chase again. Shad is on the run, slowed and dead. 3 kills, they're going for ADRD, they're trying to drop him. He has 32 gems, and he goes down. Snitch even saved by JPL as Tracer tries to go in with a quick pulse bomb. That didn't work out, but at least Chris was able to recover a majority of the gems that ADRD dropped. The situation still is a grim one. 10 against 0 kills, 3 levels behind. Okay, at this point, you hook him out of the train, Hope. And why? Because you can.
Because you can. Zealots are going to hit 13 here, which is helpful. Being able to have the Ominous Wrath for Leoric. Going to be good, right? Being able to stop some of that damage coming their way.
I'm just scared because Dignitas is very clearly toying with their food right now.
Yeah, like hungry piranhas that aren't hungry.
Yeah, they're sated. I mean, double talent advantage until now. Now it's 13 versus 16, but 10 kills against 0. Now we have also, of course, the level 16 on the side of Stitches, and that's a game changer. Pulverize is so damn fantastic, especially, of course, when you're running the Phoenix setup. So they are just going in, and how do you stop this? I mean, seriously, at this point, you only have the Wombo on 10, and that hasn't worked out once for Zealot. Not one single time in the entire game.
You're gonna try it. Zarmany comes in, still has that tomb available. Being a bit careful as well, we can go in for a jet propulsion. There it is, landing it straight on top of him. Here's a root as well with a little bit of damage. Zarmany having a hard time in that front line, but able to kite away. And Zealots at this point are just hoping they can save 2 keeps. They know they're gonna lose 1. Middle keep goes down. There'll be catapults in that lane, and Team Dignitas beeline straight here for the south.
Yeah, and of course they can. They're putting the pressure onto Chris, and Trace has to jump out. Also, Trace has 40 gems, so you need to play careful. Those gems are your ticket back into the game if you have a chance at all. Here comes the combo setup. Arrow into Apocalypse. This might be it. And finally a kill for the Zealots as they take Poik down.
But
at what cost? Down go Leoric and Diablo. And that is Tracer dying as well. Snitch just popping off. Smurfing here on Genji. Going in, trying to drop Shed. 38 gems. And if that's a goner, that would be a disaster. Goes in, willing to sacrifice himself. Gets the kill. And this is the beginning of... Well, it's not the beginning of the end. It's actually the end of the end.
Core.
They should at least get the keep at the bot lane.
Yeah, they get to keep in the bot lane, but with no auto attack damage, they can't fully go for it.
Snitch needs to be careful here, though.
Yeah,
and of course, Zarmany is going to be back soon, too. But still, that's a 3, nearly 4 level lead. And they actually can't get the keep. Without Snitch being there, with him being so low, and with Poik still dead, they couldn't go for the keep here. Maybe with Stitches, they could have put a bit more damage on. But Zealots at least got a kill. 1 against 14, but...
And they save their keep, too. So they don't have 2 lanes of catapults coming in. Their experience, 1 level and a quarter away from level 16. This is doable. This is winnable. I mean, you just had Snitch completely pop off in your entire team, but this is doable.
I like the attitude.
Yeah.
The glimmer of hope. They have to basically pull a Team Liquid at this point.
They have to pull a method.
Yeah, both I think both are good comparisons. Liquid once against Team Dignitas was in a very similar situation, held on to the late game and then turned it around. And Method, of course, is by now notorious for just not giving up and not dying no matter what you do to them. So you're not wrong. This is still with a good one more combo setup. You can always turn it around, but it doesn't look pretty. Let's just say, put it like that.
Arrow,
yeah,
Snitch
nice.
is low.
There's the kill.
Chris gets it.
Snitch gets the kill. Comeback time, boys.
Mopsio has Wubby here on the side. If he can block him, he can't jet propulsion out. And ADRD is going to wail on him constantly here, working on the
Body
auto
blocks,
attacks.
baby. Yeah. Apocalypse. And that was negated pretty quickly. Bunker's on the ground. Poik gets the damage out. Mopsio still surviving. 86 stacks for him. Shat puts him into the wall. But Zarmany is low. Again, going for the Ominous Wrath. Trying to get at least damage reduced a little bit. But those hooks are connecting. And that's again the front line falling. Leoric down again, and so is Diablo. 5 kills against Leoric and Diablo each.
ADRD doing his best here to poke. Leoric will be back soon. Can Dignitas get anything out of this? They're going to poke a little bit on top of this keep. It's already been bruised. They have a minion wave lingering behind as well, so should be able to get it just in time before Diablo gets back. They'll be here in about 20 seconds. But Zealots at 16. They're going to have 2 keeps down. Cowboys pushing in. Chris working on a pulse bomb, goes right in for Zelia. Zelia's going to take the damage, but be just fine.
And they don't take the keep.
Not yet. They're going to hold it. Barely. But they're holding it.
I mean, they're still holding on to it. And they have the gems for a turn-in.
Zealots right now kind of remind me of a sneeze. You know what's coming. You know a lot's about to happen. But yet it's not happening. You know? And you're trying to wonder, should I give up now? Should I stop thinking about the sneeze? Or is it going to come? You're thinking about tickling your nose, but your nose can't be tickled because you're immune to tickling.
How did you come up with that?
I don't know, man. That's just how I'm feeling right now. Like
they remind me of a sneeze.
Yeah. They're so close to falling victim, but they're holding, dude.
It's a good one, but that came out of nowhere. The problem is that they lost so many gems. That's the biggest problem. Usually when you have these comeback attempts on Tomb, then you are seeing teams hold on to the gem count. And that's something that the Zealots weren't able to do. They still have enough for 1 single turn-in, but the problem is that's only their second turn-in, whereas we already had Dignitas with 3 turn-ins here. So they need kills. This is the only way how they can come back into this. And they're trying again. Apoc straight onto Phoenix, and he is down. The kill is there. Phoenix is dead. Is that the chance for them? Once again, Mopsio is attacked though, and he's just dashing all over the place, getting the resets and using it, but it's not enough, and he goes down, but he had the stacks. Shat, on the other hand, takes the damage, goes down. AD still holding on to the gems here, as Zarmony is once more trying to move away, has no chance of survival. It's a triple kill against Zealots. Diablo at least back to business. AD surviving, but this is still rough going for them right now. Whoopi goes in again. I don't know why Mopsio went in there.
I think he was trying to get the combo there for the damage on top of Stitches, but he angled it incorrectly and
okay,
just got
but
completely picked off.
Here's my question. Why?
Yeah.
You're not going to kill him anyways. This is still Stitches that we're talking about. That boy has hit points, and you, AD had to move back because he was nearly dead already. So there was just no way AD re-engages into the fight. So the only two heroes that you have there are Tracer and Diablo, and that's just not enough to quickly kill Stitches and move away out of the fight before the rest of the team collapses onto you.
Maybe he's a fan of the death screen. I don't know, man. 20 seconds he'll be back. 20 hits for Dignitas. They're going to have a top push. They have 3 web weavers coming in.
I think it was a solidarity death. Zarmony died and he just said, like, without you, I'm nothing.
They just have to be together in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be back here. 5 seconds
both
for
from
Diablo.
the same franchise. Boss is taken, and this is, I mean...
Can they hold this?
I mean, we have 20 kills against 3. I just have to quickly note that again. So we're still talking about, of course, that 2-level advantage, but we have 20 kills against 3. So that's insane. Those deaths were mostly against Phoenix because of how squishy he is once that the silence, once his warp is taken away from him. But right now, there is just no way you hold that. You're at least going to lose all 3 of your keeps. Even if you get a kill here and somehow defend, you will still lose every single keep in the game. But even that doesn't happen. Leoric is down. Diablo dies again. That's 8 deaths on the side of Diablo. 7 deaths on Leoric. And that has to be game. Shat died 5 times. And Team Dignitas is moving in. Makes this a 3-0 victory as they just beat Zealots into the ground.
I'm sad for Zealots, but I'm excited for Dignitas. Obviously, they're going to mid-season brawl here. They're going to have a bit of a break. They get prepared for the MSB, which will be in about a month's time here for us. Dignitas, though, looking like they are on point and better than ever. Completely clean here when it comes to their victory, just shutting down the Zealots.
Yeah, Dignitas just went all Hulk Loki on Zealots. That was rough. I mean, that was really rough. Every single game that we've seen was just insanely dominant. The last one lasted a bit longer. So, but yeah, the combos just didn't really work off. They had 1-2 Zealots. They had 1-2 moments in the game where you could see, okay, the combo is actually giving us value.
Yeah.
But there was so much counter damage immediately happening. Hanzo was always under pressure and had to move out so many times. And I could have seen a comeback maybe happen for Zealots if they hold on to some of the gems.
Sure.
But they just lost way too many. They got a single turn in this game.
One turn-in. It's not going to do it on Tim's
That turn-in was allowed by Dignitas because it's just
simply
said, we're taking boss.
Yeah.
Feel free to turn in.
And then they got the pick, too, just to make sure they got no value out of it whatsoever. Zealots look a little bit outclassed today, and we'll have to see how they perform next week in the playoffs. They have a good week now to make sure they get their heads in the game here and be prepared for the playoffs, as that will be happening next Friday. But until then, Dignitas is currently our victor and continues to dominate this season. 13-1 in our 14 games they played this season.
I'm just amazed by the kill count.
Yeah.
22 against 3.
That says a lot.
Yeah. That sounds like a quick match.
And to put more perspective on that, their last 3 games have all been 3-0s too. That's 9-0 in their last 3 series for Team Dignitas. It seems like they're ready. They're prepared. They're getting all set up here for Sweden, man. I'm more excited for them. How will they handle against the Koreans? Are we going to have another European victory at the MSB?
I don't know. If that would have been the KSV Black and the Korean teams that came into the Eastern Clash, I would have said, like, yeah, there's a really good chance. But right now, Korea has actually started to step it up quite a lot. So I'm not quite sure. But Dignitas is definitely going to try and get a bit of a revenge for GCWC at the end of last year. So I wouldn't mind another European victory. But at this point, I just want to see the games.
Well, we have a Dignitas here. So with the Dignitas victory, we get a Snitch interview. Snitch, how's it going, man? How you feeling? That was your last series of the season.
Yeah, it feels really good to have a really dominant final series. I think we had a really good performance today against Zealots. It just feels really great to come out swinging.
Yeah, you guys really look together right now. And speaking of that, MSB is next for you. How are you guys going to prepare? What's your major goal moving into it? Because we won't see you for a while now. I want to hear it all now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting actually to have such a long period. I think we have a lot of time to kind of like come up with strategies and practice different things. I think we're going to lose a lot of it to be kind of creative, I think, try a few new things. Obviously, we're going to be looking to boot camp as it gets closer to the event and really grind out some last-minute practice right before the MSB. But yeah, we're just going to use the month as well as we can to kind of come up with a diverse range of strategies, basically.
I look forward to it. And before I send you over to Caldor, will you promise me to try out the newest hot in the Nexus, Diva Bunny Hop?
Oh my god.
I'm afraid I cannot. Everybody knows Big Shot is the way, Trixler. If you're going bunny hop, you're playing like Alex. And if you're playing like Alex, you're doing it wrong. Let's be honest.
Disappointed you, Snitch. Over to Caldor.
I'm sure Alex has a word to chip in on that as well if they win later on. He defended Bunny Hop again today in his own personal stream, so I'm pretty sure we're going to see some play.
I've seen it before.
Busted, dude.
Yeah, of course.
It's so good. It's Tom Scarosh. Just try to get Scarosh. Just try it once.
Alex
One
and
game.
you two, you need to get it wrong. When we're talking about, I mean, do you guys feel at least a little bit bad to make Zealots look that bad? I mean, it was dominant. It was actually crazy. It was at some point it really felt like JPL was just having fun, hooking Zelia out of a drain hope of Leoric just because he could. I mean, it sounded like you guys enjoyed that series quite a lot and had a lot of fun in voice.
I mean, that's just value. I mean, you know, the most value hook, I think, was on Infernal Shrines, where Poyak's like, I'm doing the easy, and the Jay's like, stand still, I'm going to hook you over for maximum value. You know, we're just all about the hook efficiency, trying to get the maximum out of everything, you know?
How do you
yeah, I mean...
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it is a little bit sad to kind of see their level right now. It would have been a lot of fun if it was a really close series like it was at the Western Clash. So yeah, it is a little bit disappointing to have it be so one-sided, but I think we're still very happy that we were able to make it look very clean.
Do you feel it was also a bit down to the decision making? Infernal Shrine surprised me because you get they play an Abathur composition, you guys get the first Punisher, and they engage you on the Shrine, which procs the jump on the Punisher twice, and then he doesn't get baited over the wall, and you just completely take the wall, take the fort, you are 2 levels ahead, you can simply rotate in the mid lane, take the next one as well. That decision to engage you on the Shrine again for a team fight, even though the Punisher was already lost, that was a bit surprising. And it felt that today, Zealots in general felt pressured maybe to engage in a lot of the battles where at the Western Clash I would have said they would have just accepted that they need to stay back a little bit. Was that did you guys perceive that too, or was that, what do you think was the reason for that today?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree. I'm not really sure what the reason was. I'm not in their heads, but it definitely felt like, with an Abathur composition, you're not always looking for the straight fight. Like, obviously you get a lot of soaking value, but it felt like, I agree, they were really overcommitting on a lot of objectives in pretty much all 3 games. Like, it felt like they really wanted to force a lot of the time, and yeah, I do think we punished that really well. So.
How do you guys motivate yourselves for practice at this point? It really feels like you're insanely dominant. Is that reflected in scrims too? Do you experiment more in scrims, which makes them maybe a little bit closer, where you try to find new strategies? But with the way you've shown yourselves play in HGC over the last 2 weeks, that was insanely dominant. So is that something where you can still find the motivation to go into training and just give 100%, or is that a problem where you say, okay, we need to be careful that we don't take this too lightly, because at the mid-season brawl against other international teams, we might not be able to be as dominant?
Yeah, I think we're very self-reflective as a roster, and I think even the games where we feel like we look good, there's always things we feel like we could do better. So I think we definitely find motivation in that. Like, a lot of our series throughout this part have been a little bit shaky even. Like, some of the lower teams have definitely taken games from us, as we've seen, with Leftovers and Diamond Skin. They put up really good performances against us that exposed some of our weaker points that even we didn't know about, So I think, yeah, we just find a lot of motivation in wanting to be the best team we can be, and always having our eyes set on something higher. We want to be the team that wins MSB. We want to be the team that's there and winning BlizzCon. Like, we have these big motivational goals, I think, so we have just no intentions of stopping or slowing down. Like, we're always looking for the next thing we can do to improve, and if there isn't anything, we want to innovate. We want to be the team that does bring out that new pick, or that finds the way to change the meta, and I think we've done that a few times now, and I do think our flexibility is a big strength of us as a roster. So I think we're just 5 very motivated players who have really high ambitions, and that's what keeps us going.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I'm looking forward to the mid-season brawl and see how you guys do there.
That's right, Snitch. We're all done with you, so thank you for joining us. And we're not going to see you for a few weeks, so make sure your shout-outs are good here. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you.
Well, shout-outs to Team Dignitas and our sponsors. Shout-out to my team for a great season. Shout-out to all of our fans and the Dig Squad who have supported us every week. Shout-outs to Trixler and Caldor and the rest of the HGC production crew. It's been a great phase. We're looking forward to seeing you all at the MSB. Hopefully we get to meet some fans and put up a good performance against the international teams. And thank you guys very much for watching.
That's it, man. Dignitas for getting a big victory today, a 3-0 over the Zealots. 13-1 this season. Something you can be proud of, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that is insanely impressive. So we're going to see if they can continue that run at the mid-season brawl. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see some exciting games from them there. It's going to be a lot of fun watching them going up against the international teams. And also, of course, how the European teams that go outside of Dignitas, how they step it up, because we have a bit of a break and there's a lot that can happen there.
And we're going to see two of our teams that are competing for spots for that third slot as they'll be playing next. Method versus Trait coming up to you after this commercial break. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be right back. Wear down that Immortal, and that puts a lot of pressure on Zealots to make a play, and they feel that pressure. They're making the play now. They move in. They got a portal. Zarmny comes in with Ragnaros, but he gets stopped in his tracks and is taken out. Shad might be next.
Ragnaros is down already, and now they're starting to chase. Mopsio is on the run, and Snitch wants him. JPL also looking for another potential stun, but it seems as if Cheriel is going to be the second victim, thinking about giving up the halftime show just to make that play. But here comes ADRD with a ley line set up, and they're trying to blow Wooby up, but it doesn't work out.
Wubby just fine, gets up to full health thanks to Tranquility, and Snitch, he takes the opportunity. He goes in and he starts cutting people down. There's a pick on Greymane. Zarmny's low on the top left, so is ADRD. Another switch strikes back onto Mopsio as he's taken away. So is Karazim as well. That's going to be the fourth. That's going to be the fifth.
And also opening the side wall to allow Stitches a hook, but JP hit the wall instead. But of course, especially having now the Mega Smash, it's going to be great for them. As soon as they can get that damage in, once more we have Garrosh falling, and this is actually going to be, this could be game here. They are trying to go for Shad. The Keep is already suffering. It's a triple kill, and that is probably lights out. It's not the out of this just yet, but things are not looking good at all. And JPL keeps hitting these hooks, and then immediately there's a follow-up again. Here comes the setup. Apocalypse is in, Entomb is there, Diablo goes down. Can they get a counter kill? No, Leoric falls instead, and it's
Shad's
time
next
to chase again. Shad is on the run, slowed and dead. 3 kills, they're going for ADRD, they're trying to drop him. He has 32 gems, and he goes down. 8 kills. This is the only way how they can come back into this. And they're trying again. Apoc straight out to Phoenix, and he is down. The kill is there. Phoenix is dead. Is that the chance for them? Once again, Mopsio is attacked though, and he's just dashing all over the place, getting the resets and using it, but it's not enough, and he goes down, but he had the stacks. Shad, on the other hand, takes the damage, goes down. ADRD still holding on to the gems here, as Zarmny is once more trying to move away, has no chance of survival. It's a triple kill against Zealots.